Brilliant. You should be able to see my screen. And today the webinar is about SDL Trados Studio Service Pack 1 in particular, but I was going to cover some other update that we have. First of all, a few slides, and then we'll move on to the software itself. So we just launched SDL Trados Studio 2014 Service Pack 1. Which was launched about a week ago, and is now in everybody's account. If you do purchase now Studio, you will receive automatically Service Pack 1. We have a multi-term 2014 Service Pack 1 as well as a group share Service Pack 1. I also wanted to some other updates for the next few months. We're going to launch multi-term workflow powered by Kaleidoscope, which is a terminology workflow solution that works with our groups. And towards June, July, most likely July, we're looking at launching some improvements to the machine translation within Studio. So the vertical engines, which I'll talk to you in a minute about. And finally, we're looking at a release of PASO, which is our software localization tool in September. But let's start with Studio. A few new features with this Service Pack. First of all, enhanced alignment. What is alignment is the ability to create translation from existing documents. So if you have a set of documents in, let's say, English, a set of documents in another language, you can combine them to create a translation memory, and Studio has got a functionality that allows you to do that. So we have made some changes with Studio 2014, but with the Service Pack 1, we added quite a few features to how you can do alignment. We added some advanced functionality for working with XML files, especially where they contain embedded content filter. And there are some usability improvements, so little things through the software. We also have the help resources, which at the moment are just in English, but we now have them also in German, French, Chinese, and Japanese, so you'll find the online help in all of those languages as well as English. A big around APIs and integration. So this is the basis of Open Exchange. The APIs basically allow you to write applications and connect to Studio or integrate functionality inside Studio, and these have been sort of extended. So groups, there is also a Service Pack 1 for group with some additional functionalities and performance improvement. Finally, we have launched a customer experience program. Studio has got quite a lot of functionality, and we're trying to understand better how the users are using the software, which one of the functionalities which are used the most, so we can continue to improve it. This is an opt participation, so we'll also cover that. Go a little bit more into details. This is alignment, and what we have done with Studio 2014, we added an automated alignment process, replacing WinAlign. But to cover some more sophisticated users, some more complex areas, or in some cases Asian languages, which are quite tricky to handle fully automated manner, we now have an alignment editor which allows you to realign the sentences that you have by an interesting way of adjusting the alignment so that you can get more accurate results and high quality data into your translation memory. Seeing more people having to translate files such as XML, and often these XML files can be pretty complex. It can be a combination not only of XML but also contain HTML inside them. So we have updated the XML filter to now allow you to deal with this embedded content. So you can display the HTML tags as Studio. So this brings you more accurate file analysis and easy to translate and process these file types with these complex XML files. You can still continue to work as you were before. The way it would work is that this is how it was before. So you can see that you have this HTML, body, P, closing P, and so on. When you apply that filter, all of these additional items get removed. This really means that the word count will be lower, and you wouldn't have to deal with all these pieces, so it makes the translation much simpler. Ability enhancement. So an enhanced Auto Propagate can Auto Propagate repeating segments. So propagation basically allows you to create, once you've translated a segment, if that segment or sentence is repeated inside a document, Studio will automatically populate the translation. So what we have done, we have extended it to include also segment with track changes on. So it's quite useful if you're dealing with files where there's multiple reviews, different versions, and so on, and you have the track changes on, and you can still auto propagate. Option, confirm segment, but do not move. So currently we had 3 options: confirm and move to next, unconfirm, move to next segment, and move to the. But now also confirm, which means you're going to store the translation in the translation memory, but you do not move, so you stay in the segment. And finally, another usability enhancement is about optimal screen display. So especially if you are working on a high DPI, so high resolution screens, which are becoming more popular. Also on laptops, the Studio will adjust the zoom to a level that are more better usable on those high DPI screens. Localizations, as I said, we have obviously online help, quick start guides, and get started videos in English, but we added the online help and the quick start guides in German, French, Chinese, and Japanese, and some of the get started videos in those languages as well. Not all the videos are in all the languages, but certainly a few are, and the online help and the quick start guides are in those languages. APIs, and I know this sounds to some of you might not be aware of the APIs, etc. However, we have Open Exchange, which is the platform that allows you to create applications, download applications, a little bit like in Android or Apple phones, where you can download all these applications to extend the capabilities of your phone or and the same is true for Studio. Of course, we don't have 500,000 apps, but we do 100 applications, a lot of them free, that extend the capabilities of Studio. Also, with the API, you can integrate Studio within other systems that your company might have. So with the extension of the APIs, you can now then integrate application within Studio instead of just outside Studio. You can even include new features within Studio. And I've got a couple, and one is actually been released, so we'll have a look at them. Hopefully they will work. And you can integrate external resources in Studio. So for example, we are working on a application, for example, to integrate Wikipedia from inside Studio, so you don't have to leave Studio. So pretty interesting. I don't have this installed, but Be Global Auto Suggest. So if you're familiar with our Auto Suggest feature, which allows you to give you suggestions as you type, we also have the ability to see translation results as you type in a match. So rather than get a popular segment with your machine translation result, he starts seeing it as you type with a bit more relevant suggestions using machine translation. So lots of possibility thanks to the new APIs. When it comes to group share, it's around, so group share is our collaboration platform, is the combination of translation memory server, technology server, multi-term, and project server. The collective name is Group Share, and we worked here on a faster experience when working on the administration web user interface. Better way to pick up a project directly from your email. Increased capabilities to limit permission in terms of licensing, infrastructure, and background. Different way of authenticating providers, so you can also use the Microsoft domain provider of your own company, for example. And REST API, so this is now enabled to access some key server functionalities. Again, it's all about integration and adding how group chat can connect to other systems. So you'll find this API been allow you to, for example, automatically publish a project in Share. So quite interesting. Then finally, the customer experience program. We are trying to understand better how our customers are interacting with Studio. As I said, Studio is very sophisticated. I want to make sure that it's become more easier to use, more user-friendly. This is really one of our key goals that we started in Studio, but we're really focusing on this effort. So this allows to select information on what functions you use the most and so on. We do not collect any intellectual property like translations, translation memories, terminology, personal information, contact info, etc. And it's completely voluntary, but it really would help us to understand how the software is used. We do have 100,000, in fact, over 100,000 users of Studio, and 200,000 users of Trados products and SDL products, etc. So we choose a base with very diverse needs, and it'd be really helpful for us to understand better how the product is used on a day-to-day basis. As I mentioned, one of the products we'll soon launch, and this is part of Group Share nonetheless, is multi-term workflow. This is powered by Kaleidoscope, which is one of our partners, but is part of Multiterm and sold directly by SDL. And this basically allows us to create terminology workflows on top of Multiterm. So, look up terminology as well as giving a solution to request, vote, approving, translating new terms. So it makes it much more automated and structured, so that you can create a life cycle for a term. So the product will be launched in the next couple of weeks. What next? So I think around July time, I'm going to have extend the capabilities of machine translation. Currently, we have the Global Community, which is a free machine translation, and we will continue to offer a free machine translation solution. But we're going to add some premium features, and in particular, two things. The ability to use a vertical engine. Launch, I think, initially IT, automotive, travel, consumer electronics. So there's 4 or 5 key verticals. What that means is that rather than getting a generic machine translation result, you get results which are customized for those particular industries. So if you're working on those industries, using these engines will give you some improved results, which means that you have to do less editing of those results. And also looking at introducing terminology, so you'll be able to upload terminology databases which remain stored with your own engine. So when you get results from the machine translation, those will include your terms and brands. So again, it's another feature that will really help improving the kind of machine translation results that you get. This will carry a little cost. We are hoping to make it affordable, but basically it will give you some level of customization when it comes to machine translation. We also have Pasolo, which is a software localization tool, and we're now planning for September a launch of Pasolo 2014. This will include a new UI, a complete refresh of the UI and navigation, better machine translation integrations, a number of file types being supported, quite a lot of usability improvements, and better installation, auto update processes. So watch this. If you are a Pasolo customer or if you are interested in software localization, Pasolo 2014 is coming. This is from a slide's point of view. What I want to do is actually show you a little bit in Studio. Before I do that, I wanted to show you where you'll find and you have a very noisy keyboard, where you find Service Pack 1 and another couple of resources that I thought were good to share. So if you go to oos.sdl.com, this is your standard account. This is standard account. You can see here Service Pack 1. If you click on more, it's going to bring you to this article that gives you all the detailed information on what to do in Service Pack. You will also find the My Downloads. You should see under Studio 2014. You should see this text SP now available. So you open it up. You find a download for Studio 2014 Service Pack 1, Multiterm 2014 SP1 widget, and a Multiterm 2014 SP1 desktop. So these you will need to download and install Studio, download and install Multiterm. If you do the widget, obviously you can download that too. So log your account, and under My Downloads you'll find it unknown version. So you will need to do a full reinstall. You don't need to disinstall your existing copy of 2014, but if you download and do an installation of 2014 and Multiterm desktop, this will correct. And if you do go on the home page of my account, you will also find this Learn More here, which is all the new features. Downloaded it. This is the Studio 2014 Service Pack 1. You check whether you do have it. If you go on the Help about Trados Studio, you hear SDL Trados Studio 2014 SP1. So that's when you know that you do have the Service Pack 1 installed. So I'm not going to show you all the details, but first of all I wanted to show you alignment, as there are some changes in there, a couple of the applications, and also the user interface. As I said, we do have the online help in different languages. So if you go under Help and Help Topics, it's normally in English. However, if you do change the user interface, you pick German, you'll have to restart Studio. And I do have a couple of beta plugins, so I do get some messages that you shouldn't get. At this point, you go into Help, you should get the help in this, so in my case, German, so you can have help in German. And getting started video, you will find some some of them are in English still, and we'll be adding additional videos anyway. But there's now quite a few in language. I'm gonna go back to English because I'm afraid my German is not quite up to scratch. So let me go back alignment. Changed quite a bit, and there's different ways now to run alignment. You'll find alignment up here, so on the home screen you'll find align documents, and the place to find the alignment is also under open alignment. But here's your main button to run alignment. When you click on it, you'll really find a couple of ways. The quickest is align single file pair, but you also have align multiple files, which has also got quite a quick wizard. So if you're aligning a single file pair, you can just select this, existing translation memory where all your info will go, or you can quickly create a new translation memory. So webinar PM English, because that's my sample. And now select a source file. Equivalent. The file I'm looking at, just to give a quick view of this. So I've got this file, which is all in Spanish, and I've got its equivalent translated English version. So I'll just finish, and so we'll automatically align. And at this point, you see the work with the alignment, and you can very quickly do a quick import. And it's imported 82 and 87 pairs. You can go and see under translation memory. We have just created, so we've got the webinar PM and see all the results. So that was all automated. I didn't touch anything, and that was done. However, if I'm not happy with the alignment, this is where I can start making changes. So I can see, for example, here that this sentence and this sentence are okay, but actually these are not okay. So select by clicking 2 and 2 and disconnect them. And actually it looks like this February doesn't anything. These two look like they're quite aligned. You can go through the document and where things are matching. So in this case, I've got two segments in that have kind of been merged into one in Spanish. So you can have multiple relationship amongst the segments, so not necessarily a one-to-one relationship. Again, here, for example, I have a bit of, this doesn't really look like a correct alignment. There were a lot more tags missing and so on. You can basically scroll through that file, and when you see that something isn't right, you can just disconnect it. Like, see that these there's starting to be some issues. And you have different ways as well to reconnect. So let's say you wanted to connect these two, or you want to connect the two with one, you can do that, and it would disconnect the other. So you can do this quick one-to-one relationship, but just by clicking the number and link it. Or you can also use the alignment edit mode, which actually gives you things slightly different. So I'm gonna disconnect a few here. So I've got a few here which don't seem to match. If we're in alignment edit mode, I could decide that 1 and 2 go to 1, and I can say connect. Created this list. You can also exit edit mode. You can find. So let's say that in the middle of the document, you see some issues and you need to realign. So you're gonna, you can disconnect, for example, this, and you say actually it's only this with this, and then you can do a quick, and the rest of the documents will realign from that point. You can check different points how things are going. and do little fixes, and that might actually improve the whole rest of the alignment. So you might not have to check every sentence, but you can kind of see where you are. So for example, you can see there your end pretty much ends with the other, and so on. So different way of working with this alignment. And again, once you finish, you can import into the translation memory anything that you have done. You notice here that there's a different set of colors, green, yellow, and red. When they have these different colors, it means that Studio is not quite sure about what kind of quality alignment it is. Yellow is intermediate, and green, Studio is quite confident that that's a good alignment. Every time you make a connection, it's a strong green line. When you're happy and you feel that everything is okay, you can click on confirm or confirm all, and all the segments at that point become green, and everything will get imported. So quite a different way of working. But others can just import like before and not have to do any work. And of course, you can edit your translation memory as you start to work. It's depending. I always said this to people who asked. It's 50,000 sentences at no time is worth doing a quick alignment, setting your confidence level on the 80, 90, so you import reasonably decent items, and then start working and fix it as you go. If you do have the time and you want to try and improve what you're importing your translation memory, obviously now you do have this alignment editor. If you click, I'm going to do this, and I'll just show you the second way of working, which is find multiple files, and this is the big tick box that changes how things work from the previous Studio 2014. If you have this, you'll be able to edit the results. If you untick it, it's just an automated wizard. So you can add it. You can add a folder, a single file again, but in this using this second wizard, so it's slightly different. You'll see here I decide I want everything at 90% and finish. Done. I have to say I only imported 24 units and that's it. However, and this I'm in the TM and you can see exactly what's been imported. The second way of working is using this click to save alignment results for later review. You want to decide where you store your alignment, and this is again for the famous 50,000 items. You might want to save this alignment. You can do it in batches. Again, I'm going to put it into my translation without creating a new one. You can take multiple files first, so I can select English, and I'm going to click Spanish. Oops, I said add folder, Spanish, select folder, and now you see is that you've got a batch of English files, a batch of Spanish files. Interestingly, they don't have to be all same type. So I've got here docx and PDF, and here they're all docx. Just Studio will process all the files supported by Studio, so all the Office files, XML, HTML, InDesign, and so on. So all file types supported by Studio can be processed with alignment. And at this point, I'm going to click to the alignment. At this point, it gives you a when saved all the alignments, which process. So I've got 3 files. If I want, I can start open them and what has happened. So this is my folder, and I can alignment. And so here are my 3 files, which is SDL align, and I can click on one and it will open it, and I'm back into that editing mode. So again, I can decide what happens with the various files, with the various segments. As I said, you can combine, drag and drop, realign, and save your alignment. You can save it as an SDL XLIF as well. And then you can do a quick import into the translation memory like that, or you can do an advanced import. So again, apply the quality criteria. So for things that you manually touch, those will get imported, but perhaps the red ones might not. So once you completed that task, you can do a quick import or advanced import. So a lot more options basically when it comes to alignment. I then wanted to show you briefly the project settings. So once you go into project settings, file types, and this is a bit more advanced, but if you deal with XML files, this is where you'll find now the embedded content processor. So XML, you now have this additional function here, embedded content, and you can decide what to do. And as you've seen in the slides previously, you will be able to put HTML embedded into those files. So it's quite interesting. As I said, perhaps kind of a bit more of an advanced functionality, but very useful if you're working on XML files. And then I wanted to show you some of the possibilities that the new Open Exchange APIs allow you. So for example, this is already available, this client services plugin, appears directly here inside Studio. What you see here is a list of possibilities. You can search directly a knowledge base from here. So I'm going to type Java, for example, and this will launch our knowledge base like this. When an article now on the knowledge base, you also have this additional possibility to use Be Global. So you can show the original text, which is in English, or you can select any of these languages, and we now have machine translation available on all of these articles. Although obviously this is a machine translation, it might help you. We try to tweak a little bit and customize the engine, so you should get a reasonably good result, reasonably good and understandable translations of all our KB articles. From you can also select the solution file, where you register when you got a download or installation or licensing. Once you've selected this, I have a problem with my account. It might ask you different questions, but also you might get to a point where, for example, I need to have my license reset. And at that point, see, I've got my pop-up blocked. A screen like this on the side where it allows you to tell us your details, and you can contact us to have your license reset, for example. Then have SDL Quick Start, which is a community that we have launched, staffed by us, where there are in particular some forums, which I think is a pretty good way to ask questions to us. It's pretty new, but if you have any query on how to use the software, you can post on the forums, and we're going to try to help. It's not a support mechanism that should help you. If you do have a full support contact, you can log a support ticket. It will take you quickly there. There's a list of shortcuts, and also some external resources like Yahoo, Pros, our YouTube channel, our Creation Zone resources, and so on. So quite a lot of information, and all of this has been possible through the APIs and the new Open Exchange. Another interesting one, I think, just to show you, this is in beta. If you go to verification, we will have the ability here to have grammar checks. We're literally working on it as we speak. Hopefully we're going to be able to release this soon as an app. It will add a functionality in here. And you'll have grammar checks. As long as you've got Microsoft Word, you'll be able to do grammar checks from inside Studio. So again, quite a nice feature. Or you have items like the bookmarks. Again, if I translate single file, let's just open. Advanced, you have for new bookmarks, for example. So this is again another application possible through the Open Exchange new APIs. So if you want to plant a bookmark, you can call it and click on A. So if you've got a very long document, and you can click on View Bookmarks, and then a screen appears with all your bookmarks from the different projects and so on. So that project was another one. But otherwise, it's just going to move you directly to that place. So it's quite a neat way when you're working with a lot of files or with a lot of you know, there you go. You can customize a little bit what you see. And if you're working with large files and so on, you'll be able to move the files. So again, and I think it's a very interesting possibility opened by Open Exchange. I think the bookmark is available on Open Exchange. So if you go on sdl.com/Open Exchange, this is our main website. You'll find link Open Exchange and the more resources that will take you directly to the site. Then you can search for applications, for example, bookmark, bookmark plugins, for example. So all of these are external developers who have created applications. As I said, some of them are free, some of them are paid, but it's just a good platform where you can find quite a lot of additional features for Studio. And with this, I was just going to come to the end of the webinar. So now I'm going to stop sharing, and hopefully you have now the chance to ask any question that you might have.